Tonight, Gotham's relying on one man to save us all.
The entire fate of the NFL rests on this man's shoulders, because we need to put a stop to this madness.
That's our only hope. That is our only hope, ladies and gentlemen, to prevent Taylor Swift, Jackson Mahomes, whatever his wife's name is, and Patrick himself from going to another Super Bowl. But it's not going to happen. Right, Tony? Tony has confidence in the Ravens today.
I have the utmost of confidence in the Ravens. They have been the best football team all year, and now we're acting like the Chiefs, who finally played a complete football game for the first time, that they're going to do that in back-to-back games. I'm just not with it. Like, I'm not with this idea that, like, yeah, you can turn it on for a game for sure against a team that was almost out of the playoffs a month ago. The Ravens haven't been that problem, bro.
I just feel like
they're showing you the regular season doesn't matter. The Chiefs are treating the regular season like NBA teams treat their regular season. It don't matter. You turn it on when the postseason shows up.
Well, you two punks can sit there and be afraid of Patrick Mahomes. I'm not afraid of him right now. Like, if I'm the Ravens, I'm going out there and I'm trying to bury this Chiefs team in the first half. Like,
I've been saying it all season pretty much, but definitely since the Ravens have emerged as real contenders, that this team is not going to play games with Patrick Mahomes when he's tiptoeing the sideline. They'll take a 15-yard penalty to take his fucking head off, and I hope he knows that. Actually, I hope he doesn't know that. I hope he doesn't know that.
And look, Tony, there's no such thing as a jinx. Mike and I have found that out all year long. There's no such thing as a jinx, and that's why I think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win this game and win this game easily.
That didn't make any sense, what you just said.
No, everybody says that I pick games wrong, that I'm always wrong. I'm showing them today that I am 100% correct, and there is no way, absolutely no way that Lamar Jackson figured it out in one season and goes to the Super Bowl. Absolutely no way.
Well, Joe, I did like your 49ers prediction video. That was pretty funny.
See, they're even asking in the chat right here. If you guys are on TikTok, come on over to MJT Football on YouTube. Look, somebody said, Joe, who do you have winning today? I'm taking the Kansas City Chiefs because they're the best team in the AFC, right? I mean, I only seen one team really dominate them this year, and I forget what team that was, but it was on Christmas Day.
They went 11-6. They lost 6 games.
Yeah, but only one of them was a dominant factor and just straight domination.
I'm a big fan of LVR is not him. Great. That's a great name for your YouTube.
LVR is not him.
Yeah,
and he's got a picture.
Games today. It should be good. Lamar Jackson doing his thing all year. But Tony, I don't think Mike and I are denying the fact that the Baltimore Ravens, one, have a great team on paper, and two, have been the most dominant team all season. But when it comes to Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, look at Patrick Mahomes' stats in just the playoffs alone, right? 10 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He's on fire. He turns it on. But I do like that Kadarius Toney. I don't know if that was true or not today, but he's coming out crying about how they're faking an injury tag on him, just like he did against with New York. Shocking. Did you guys see that?
They should just cut this dude. But
yeah, they should just be like, hey, we don't want you dropping passes in key situations, Kadarius. That's why you're injured. You might not think you're injured, but your hands are fucked up, dude. Your hands don't work.
They must be injured. They got to be. I'm going to need you to take a few steps back there, Joe, on the whole Mike and I know about Andy Reid. I am wholeheartedly rooting for the Ravens, and I'm picking the Ravens to win this game with all of my heart. It's just I've been here before where I've thought that they're done. I've thought the nail is in the coffin to a point there's only 10 seconds left in the fucking game, and I'm celebrating. And then they still find a way to win. So in the back of my head, there's just that that little just like memory reel playing. You know, it's just me in the stands with all the Eagles fans around me, and we're celebrating. Jalen Hurts just tied the game. The Eagles are going to win it.
Well, it's funny that they're like so out on Kadarius Toney because 365 days ago, this guy was winning a Super Bowl for the Chiefs. The punt return, the touchdown, like he was fantastic for them. So I would still think that there's got to be ways that you could use him out there somewhere. Like you can't use him on special teams. At least I think you could probably play Sky Moore on some sort of like kick coverage or something. But you got to be able to find a way to get Kadarius Toney on the field. And I'm glad that there's some sort of turmoil in the locker room.
Tony.
Huh?
This is the NFL. It's what have you done for me lately? We don't give a fuck what you did 2 weeks ago. We care about what you did last week or what you're going to do today for us. That's it. That's all we care about.
Overlord, I just want to let you know, I've been down this road. I'm a man of a certain age, and I have lost so much money against Michael Jordan and Tom Brady in my life. Like, so much money. And just don't do it. Just cheer against Patrick Mahomes. Do not continue to bet money against really great players because you end up with a lot less money.
I love that comment right there. That is the let's just keep that comment up all damn day right there. That's the best one.
I just don't understand.
Charger fans will never get to pick their own team in one of these championship matchups.
I just don't understand, Tony. They're always saying stuff like this, like they're always sitting at the top with the crown on their head or some shit. Like they're not in the same exact boat with 30 years of suck behind them.
I think Meathammer is a 49ers fan, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a 49er fan.
Yeah.
That's a 49er fan coming after you. I'm not even saying anything today. I'm just sitting back and letting Niner fans attack you guys today. Niner fans love me. You know,
you did
that old
them.
thing where haters are wanted because the old ones are starting to love me. That's where I'm at right now.
It's because you picked them to win. That's why I saw your video.
And on TikTok, I have them as winning. You know, sometimes you got to butter them up, Mike. Sometimes you got to live them up. And then when they lose, you got to smack them down, Mike. You got to smack them down because if the Niners lose today, I will not fucking let off of them. I will go full speed. I got like 10 videos already made on these damn Niners.
How could a 49ers fan be a Harbaugh hater? Didn't he put you in one of these championship games that you're talking shit about?
Yeah, it's funny because fans like that, they blame him for not being on the team anymore instead of guys like Trent Baalke and Jed York, which is like just there's this narrative that Harbaugh doesn't like to stay very long in one place. So he coaches for San Diego. You think he's just going to stay in San Diego forever, or is he going to take a big-time college job like Stanford, like to go play against USC and Washington and play in the Pac-12 or 10 or whatever it was at the time? No, he's going to take the Stanford job. So he's at Stanford, and he gets offered a job in the NFL. You think he's going to stay at Stanford or take the job in the NFL? No, he takes the job in the NFL. The only place where he like flamed out or burnt out people was with the 49ers. He then goes to Michigan and coaches there for 10 seasons or whatever it is. It's like there's the idea that he can't stay in one place for very long. I don't believe that.
10 years is a long time.
And all he did was dominate for the 49ers.
But you guys talk a bunch of shit about Bill Belichick, and Harbaugh did the same shit at Michigan. He's a cheater. He's a cheater, Tony.
Here we go with this shit.
And from the NCAA. That's why he's coaching the Chargers next year, because he had to get out of the NCAA because he was going to get suspended. He's a cheater. Tell him what it is, Tony. He's a cheater.
I don't give a shit about Belichick and what they said happened to him. Nothing was ever proved. And I definitely don't give a shit about what they said about Michigan this year. You think I care?
Brady deflated them balls, Joe. It was Brady all along. Come on. And why did he change his profile pic? His profile pic was an image of the Raiders being intercepted, and now he's changed it to some kind of pro Raiders shit. His username says LVR is not him.
I cannot see what that is in in this new photo. It looks like ET in a what is that?
It's literally Jack Jones. Raiders fans are all hyped about a rent-a-player. from last season. It's fucking ridiculous. And who drafted all of those players? LVR is not him that lost 63-21 to the Raiders that fateful day. Wasn't us. Not anymore.
So let's go. Let's go.
So let's go. Oh man, Mahomes versus the world. This is how Chiefs fans probably feel right now. They literally are like in the same spot that Brady was in when Mahomes played Brady and lost to him.
Yeah, but that's what's fun, right? Patrick Mahomes is the new villain. And that was always I used to talk about that with Brady all the time. And the reason I love Tom Brady so much is because he gave me a reason to cheer for games that I don't really have anything on the line for. Like, if I had Ravens gear, I would have it up in the background right now, like to support the Ravens. I don't, but that's what makes it fun, is finding players to root against. And the Chiefs are definitely that.
Oh, I got some Chiefs gear I should hang up, huh? It's right here. Oh, I forgot. I got this one to hang up.
They should write a show about Joe's life. It would be one of the funniest fucking shows of all time. The Morley family. I love that.
Nah, it would be real boring. It'd be boring, but yeah.
Rooting against them. Against them, K4 shots. Against them.
Mahomes' dad. Did you guys see that? That he was asked if he was going to be put in the suite with Taylor Swift, the Mahomes the rest of the Mahomes gang, and the Kelsey family, and he was like, I hope not. Like, I hope not. He doesn't like the party atmosphere that Jason Kelsey and the rest of them have up in there.
He just wants to watch the damn game.
Yeah, I just want to stand there and watch the damn game.
Yeah, what was the line he had, smoking that Joe Burrow after they beat him last year? Yeah. Like, he just wants to go somewhere, roll up a blunt, and have a good time, which I get it. I don't think I would like to be in that suite either, to be honest. Like, it's too much for me to enjoy the game. There's too much going on.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. Like, when we go to the game, I like going with you guys because we all basically the same thing. We like to sit there and we watch the game. We'll talk a little bit, but we're not like trying to have big conversations the whole time. Like, hey, Mike, did you see this over here? Come here. Like, no, I like to sit there in my seats and watch the damn game.
You remember the first game? You remember the first game we went together, Joe?
No.
I do.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, I do.
I don't even remember what happened that night.
Lightning delay.
Oh, you mean the rain delay? You mean
lightning struck twice?
The storm delay in a dome where they had a
lightning struck twice.
Hey, we're on a weather delay, even though we're in a dome building. Smart.
They're saying they want to make a show based off of you, Joe. We could just change this to JMT or JTM or something. Just put Joe in the front.
We can't make a show off of what I say because I don't remember half the like when we sign off today, I won't remember half the shit I said on here. I say so much bullshit. It's not even funny.
I usually try and like take in everything that you say on these shows, Joe. Then after it, I just look at it and I just throw it out the window.
Well, yeah, I get a lot of people in my comments and they're like, "Didn't you say this?" And I'm like, "Did I?" And they think I'm fucking around, like asking, like, "Did you?" I'm like, "No, I'm really asking you, did I say that?" Because I don't remember saying it.
Until I need to use something against you, then I pull it up. Are you still doing the pick'ems, Mike? Yes, the pick'ems video that I made for this week is up. You still want to join my pick'ems challenge? You can. I don't think the link is in this description, but if you go to any of the NFLMIKE social media profiles and go to the link, you will find it. K4 shots. If you want to join before it's too late, we've only got an hour left until kickoff.
Yeah, and we haven't even touched or scratched the surface on the Niners, the best team in the NFL, the greatest team ever assembled. I've been telling you guys this all year, and Niner fans think I'm joking with them. This is the greatest team ever assembled. A couple of weeks ago, when they beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, I said, "Hey, welcome back, NFL fans. Welcome back, Niner fans. Your team's going to the Super Bowl." And everybody started laughing. They thought I was joking with them. Did I not tell them after they beat Jacksonville, after that bye week, that they were going to the championship? And Niner fans were all mad at me. And they were like, "What?" But Tony, I hope Walmart has a bunch of people scheduled tomorrow. I hope they filled that schedule out because God, all these Niner fans are going to be running in and being like, can I return this? Can I return this shirt? Please. I don't want to be a Niner fan anymore.
Joe, what about all those people who borrowed somebody's Costco card to get the new merch at Costco? They got to now ask for a friend to go return that.
And see, that's where they should be buying it, because Costco's no questions asked. Here you go. Thank you. That's where you should be buying your gear. But Costco screwed up the 49er fans, and they put silver and black Niner gear out there. Did you see that? They had silver and black Niner gear. They were like, hey, we already know. Actually, it was silver black with like Bengal stripes. So they were like, we already know that you're coming from a different team, that you're already jumping bandwagons. So come over here, rock these other colors, and then we could just tell you apart at the party.
I mean, that works. That way you could still root for the Bengals and the Raiders when the Niners are on a 3-game losing streak, but then when the Niners are back on, you can just be like, no, this is a 49ers logo, clearly. Like, yeah, there's Bengal stripes, and it's the wrong colors. I'm a Niner fan, obviously.
Ask Big Ballers right here what he was texting around halftime of the Packer game. He a big Niner fan here. Ask him what he was saying, how he was saying he knew Shanahan was going to blow it.
Niner fans, I'm getting a lot of reach outs from them. They are very confident in today's game.
Pause.
Well, everyone always says that there are Chargers bandwagon fans, or they shit on Chargers fans, but at the same time say there isn't Chargers fans. So it just doesn't add up. You can't shit on someone that doesn't exist. That's a whole other story that we're not going to go down right now. Let's talk about
say you're getting reached around by Niner fans.
Wait, do you guys really think that the Niners are going to blow out the Lions like that?
No.
Neither do I.
I mean, yes, Tony, the Niners are going to kill them.
I think it's going to be a close game, and Niner fans are extremely confident, and that's all I was about to say. So I've been getting DMs, texts from family members, talking about how cocky and confident they are. I'm not even asking them to be cocky or confident. Like, I'm not reaching out to Niner fans and asking them how the fuck they feel about this week's game. I don't want to talk to them at this moment in time, but they're all reaching out to me and talking about how confident they are, and I keep telling them, be careful, because you never know. There might be a lion that shows up to the field in San Francisco today.
There's Niner fans that are telling me that I better hope the Niners don't go to San Francisco and win the Super Bowl, because they're going to shut my account down. And you know what I say? Bring it on, motherfuckers, because that's why I make the content, so you can come right back and bro up my page. So bring it on.
And when you talk about like player for player, these teams are pretty similarly built. The Lions are like the 49ers of 3 years ago at this point, and they have the tight end, they have the offensive line, they have the running backs, they have a defensive line that goes out and rushes their asses off and gets after the quarterback, a secondary that's opportunistic, aggressive, good ways and bad ways. Like this isn't gonna be a blowout by any means necessary. And I think that the most entertaining Super Bowl, no matter who wins the AFC title game, includes the Detroit Lions.
Well, it's the better
storyline. You think the Super Bowl, that the Lions are in it for sure?
No matter what, the better storyline is the Detroit Lions. That's what you're saying. It doesn't matter. The Super Bowl will be better if the Detroit Lions are in there, because everybody loves the underdog story. That's all it's about. Like Cinderella going to the ball. You want her to fucking fall in love and become that prince. But it don't matter, because we're talking about Walmart, right? Did you guys see this yesterday? They already had these. ready to go. 49ers
printed out papers and put that there.
Yeah, somebody screwed up and already made those.
So you guys, we always talk about the script writers, and there was a big thing where it was like the Super Bowl logo has these teams' colors in it. But if you were going to script something, why wouldn't you start a season where it's like the opening game of the night of the season is Lions Chiefs, and then you finish the season with that Lions Chiefs game on a neutral field? Like, if you really believed in like script, right, like the scripted season, I think that would be a great finale for the end of it. But if we're like, just to be serious about the Lions, the one chance that they really have in this game is if the offensive line can get through the injuries. Like Frank Ragnow's banged up. We saw him like gutting it out last week, and then they're going to have a backup guard in there. Like, if those guys can hold up in this game and they can continue to run the ball and give Goff a little bit of time, like, I really think this Lions team has what it takes to keep this game close and win the game.
Well, the Lions' offensive line is so dominant, right? And and when you think about the Niners' defense, it's what? It's Bosa, it's Hargrave, it's Chase Young, and you want that defensive line to get to your quarterback. If they can't get going, we already know that Niners secondary isn't dominant. That the Lions can pick them apart. Jared Goff can sit back there, give him time. He's going to find a way to pick you apart. So I think that's the big key to the matchup is that offensive line versus that defensive line. And if the Niners can't get it going, and they're going to need more than a 4-man pass rush,
I think
we'll see the tears coming.
I think to me, it's more about the interior, right? It's more about keeping out Hargrave, and Armstead is going to be ready to go in this game too. So I think it's more about the interior of the offensive line for me.
Yeah, and they got to create some rushing lanes for sure. I think that the Lions, they need Gibbs to shine today. They need him to make a few huge plays to spark their offense and get it going against this Niners defense early in the game. Who would you rather have in a passing shootout? Would you rather have Goff or Purdy?
Oh,
Goff?
But both of them are
going to Shanahan be my answer?
Because let's say that both offensive lines figure out a way to kind of neutralize or slow down the pass rushes, and this turns in to a third and fourth quarter back and forth shootout. Which side you going with? Because I feel like that would favor the Lions. Like, in a weird way, the 49ers, as the better team, kind of want to turn this into more of a scrappy, who's tougher, who has more depth fight than an air raid or an air show.
Yeah, I think trying to play the tough game with the Lions is not as easy as some people think it is. Like, it's not an easy win. It's definitely not, especially not when your toughest guy on the team, Debo, is coming with a shoulder injury. So if I'm on the team, I'm not saying take a cheap shot, but every chance that I get to drive Debo into the ground and really test and see how that shoulder's feeling, like that's what I would be telling my defenders to do. Like, we're not targeting the guy, we're not taking cheap shots, but if I get a chance to hit him, don't let him off the hook. Like, just hit him as hard as you possibly can and see if he can stay in the game. Because the thing that I saw that was really interesting was I would have assumed that Brandon Ayuk had better games, like more consistently when Debo's not in the lineup, and the numbers didn't really support that. Like, he wasn't as fantastic. It was more like his big games were when Debo was on the field, and Debo was like a decoy on a lot of those plays for him to get open. So it'll be interesting to see if Kyle Shanahan can still use Debo as that decoy and Ayuk can get going, because Ayuk hasn't had a big game in a minute. The person I put my bet on for this week for the Niners is Kittle. Like, I just don't think any of those linebackers can stay with them. And if they have to use Chauncey Gardner for something else, like, I just think Kittle's a nightmare for them to have to deal with.
Yeah, he's definitely a guy that you can lose when you're so committed to slowing down CMC, so committed to slowing down Debo Samuel. Now, like you said, Brandon Ayuk gets going on the outside. You lose sight of George Kittle, and he goes for 45 in a tub out of nowhere.
Well, if you want to put somebody on Debo, don't put Cam Sutton. Please don't put Cam Sutton.
Don't put Cam Sutton in the game at all.
If you want to be aggressive on Debo, Cam Sutton's going to be about 5-10 yards away from him.
He was getting cooked all week last week.
He's not been as good as I had hoped when they signed him. Like, he was one of the players I was excited about. They lost Emmanuel Mosley really early on. Like, I don't think the defense has really ever gotten the chance, because they had two major injuries in the secondary, like, to start the season right away. So I think Cam Sutton will be fine to play with Debo, right? Like, because it's more physical. Like, did you guys? I should have clipped this out or sent it to Joe to have him get. Was like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson talking shit to Debo Samuel, like, on his Instagram. I don't know if you can find it or not, Joe, but he called
the beginning of the year, right?
What happened?
That was from the beginning of the year, right?
Yeah, where he's like telling him about how he's really just a running back. Because it's funny that, like, whenever we want to slander somebody, we always tell them they're not the position they're playing. Like we'll go like, Lamar Jackson, you're just a running back, or you should have been like a slot receiver or something. It's like, that's the thing. Oh, wait, so you're still really great. You're good enough to be in the NFL. Like, it's not like you're just ass and you can't play or whatever. It's like, oh yeah, you could still just be dominant, but at another position. So I think that they'll be just fine at whatever position it is that they're playing.
Yeah, and CJ wasn't best friends with Debo when he was in Philadelphia either. They went back and forth a lot. So there's a lot of history between those two.
Well, it would have been interesting to see that game replayed. The problem is you can't then lose your offensive coordinator and think that it's going to be the same game, no matter what it is. Like, even if they're healthy, like the Eagles offense just hasn't looked the same. And I don't know if we're talking about like who got hired where and whatever else, but is Kellen Moore going to be the answer? Like, do we think that Kellen Moore's ever been like that creative?
I just want to say something to the Detroit Lions, Tony. This is what I need. I need the Detroit Lions to like take a knee in front of me, and I'm going to build them up, right? And this is what I would say in the locker room to them. I say, look, if you had one shot or one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted in one moment, would you capture it or would you let it slip away? That's what I would tell them, Tony. That's what I would, that just came to me right now. That was like a heartfelt speech to give the Lions right before they take the field today.
That's why you're a state champion flag football coach, Joe, because of motivational speeches like that one.
I don't know where that came from, but look at that. That just flew right through right to the team, and that would motivate the shit out of them.
Yeah. No, that would make sense. Like, I really feel like that would resonate with them. I got chills.
Yeah, me too. It worked.
Yeah.
Look at that. See that?
I know.
Them, but they're there.
I can honestly say right now my knees are weak and my arms are heavy.
Palms are sweaty.
I mean, I won't go that far, but I would, the first two, sure.
All right. Any hot takes for today's games? I got one. I think in one of the two games, we will see a 10-plus point comeback.
Here's my hot take, and I said it last night on my live. The Baltimore Ravens defense will score one touchdown today.
Okay.
I'm with that. Andy Reid retires at the post-game press conference.
And in comes Bill motherfucking Belichick.
Red Kingdom. Joe, so you have the Ravens scoring a touchdown, but the Chiefs still winning.
Yeah, Mike, I have the Chiefs and the Niners both winning. My favorite Super Bowl matchup of all time, Chiefs versus Niners in Allegiant Stadium. It's going to happen, and there's nothing that's going to stop it.
Run it back. Run it back. I remember that Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes should have only one Super Bowl victory in his career right now. If Jimmy G
I can't wait.
is such a fucking bum and sailed that pass over Emmanuel Sanders.
But
I
again,
can't wait to go to Vegas Super Bowl weekend.
I remember at halftime of that game, I think it was 24-10 49ers, and I was sitting there like all my friends are there, my family are there that are 49ers fans. I was like, you guys can stop celebrating. You can stop celebrating.
When you like, what do we expect though? That's what I'm saying. Like, what is the?
Just let it float. He'll run under it.
I get it, but it's Jimmy G. Like, those are the kind of things that I feel like we should all be sort of expecting. Like, in the biggest moments of games, did we really expect Jimmy G? Like, on that playoff run, they let him throw the ball like 15 times. Like, that's what you're working with. And if they weren't going to bury them and put it away, and they were going to get ultra conservative until they needed it, then that's the kind of stuff that happens. Like last week in the game, like I saw some people come out and say, the Texans weren't ready for the Ravens. They absolutely were ready for like that first half. If they could have carried in any momentum, but you can't, because the better team, the team with the players that are ready and experienced in the moment, they usually are the ones who win the game. But like they just didn't have enough. In that Super Bowl, the 49ers just didn't have enough, and especially at the best position. So today, we're going to see the Ravens are going to have enough at pretty much every position.
No, they weren't ready.
No disrespect to the Bills teams of the last couple of years, the Bengals teams the last couple of years. Is this the toughest team that Mahomes has played in the playoffs in his career?
Team-wise, I would say it's like right up there with maybe, was it the 18 Patriots? The 19, whatever that was, 19 Patriots?
18-19 season.
Whatever that was. I would say like it's real similar to those two teams, because I think that John Harbaugh is another one of those coaches where it's like a lot of times we forget about how good and how much sustained success he's had with that organization. So it's like coaching, not as good as Belichick maybe, but like right there. And then quarterback, A+ again, not as good as Tom Brady. But I would say this defense is probably right on par with anything that the Patriots had.
Who cries better after disappointment? 49er fans or Cowboy fans? Because those are the pictures that we're all waiting for today, right? That's what we're waiting for. The 49er fan grabbing his best friend, his buddy, his guy, and he's going like this. Like come on. Be serious. That's what we're waiting for today. We're just waiting for those pictures to come out.
You're literally just a football fan, Joe, just to see other football fans sad.
Yeah, that's the whole point of football season. Is to talk shit and watch your best friend cry.
See, I would say this. I would say the Cowboys have just had more.
Picture of the Charger game was you like this, like oh shit, oh damn, I still got a tag on. But Mike like this, like.
You planning to return that sweater when Tom Telesco drafts one good player with his next 10 Raiders draft picks?
Yeah. Well, my mom buys me a lot of clothes, like a lot of Raider stuff. Yeah, just throw it out there. Like, yeah, I'm 38 years old, but my mom like sits there and watches QVC and all this other shit. And so like every time she comes over, she's like, I bought you something, Joseph. And she'll like throw me this. So this is like a sweater, and my wife was like, this has been in your trunk for 2 months. You need to put this on. And I forgot to take the tag off.
There's no way you're taking it back. It is a nice sweater. I will give you that.
No, I actually do. I do like this. Like this is really nice. Like
this.
I like the little difference.
Yeah.
This one.
It's a little different. Oh, that's a nice sweater too. This one.
No, not the guns.
Yeah.
Joe, I think it's the Cowboys fans for sure, because they've had more practice. Like how many times have we thought during the Romo time and during the Dak time, like this is going to be their time, their year. And the thing that is really great is the media does a tremendous job of building up the Cowboys are going to win it. It's their time. You know, you get the impassioned speech by Michael Irvin. You get, like more people sort of dive into it. Skip Bayless has contributed to this, narrative forever and ever and ever. So it's like, I think the Cowboys fans are better criers.
You know why? Because Cowboy fans, it's genuine, right? How do you say that? Genuine. That it's coming out because they're actual passionate about their teams. 49er fans, they're not going to cry because they'll just go back to their old team, right? They'll just be like, we didn't get it done. Go Eagles, or whatever the hell they came from.
Go Bengal Raiders.
Yeah, Bengal Raiders. They'll walk out of the stadium and be like, well, there's always next year for the Jets, or that's what it is. Like, they don't shed a tear for a team that they only been rooting for about 2 weeks.
And it shouldn't be that way, Niner fans. I've been saying it for probably about 10 years now. The second Kirk Cousins left Washington, the Niners should have jumped on that shit, and they'd be a dynasty right now.
Yeah, because of the Kirk Cousins
Kirk
curse.
would be a Hall of Famer. Can you imagine Kirk Goat Chains in the Hall?
Well, so the real funny thing is all year long, and even I've been on this defending Brock Purdy against a lot of people, the conversation, if the Niners lose this game, is immediately going to be, are the Niners going to make a move? Are they going to draft a quarterback in this draft? Like, and that to me is hilarious that because I never went as far to say that Brock Purdy was an MVP, but we are going to have so many people who testified how great Brock Purdy was, and he was top 5. I drew the line when I started getting messages from people, and they were like, Purdy's a top 5 quarterback. And then I would say something back to them. They'd be like, well, he's better than Herbert. And I was like, I can't talk to you anymore. We no longer can continue to have a conversation about who's the better quarterback. Like I can't do that with you. So like,
that's the hardest thing in Ryan Clark's life this year, Tony.
You did tell me about that.
Brock Purdy was a great quarterback.
Well, Tony, you think Herbert could really hand the ball to CMC that good? You think he could do it at that level? You think that he could throw those screenplays to Deebo Samuel at Brock Purdy's level? 13?
I'm not sure he could hit wide open receivers. I really don't know if that's the case.
Tony basically just said that Danny Dimes could go to San Francisco and do what Brock Purdy's doing.
I've been saying Sam Darnold could. Not been waiting for Sam Darnold's moment, but that moment will come one day, and that will be proven correct.
So I don't think that just anybody can do it, and you can't be penalized for where you're drafted. Like I've said for years, if you flipped Tom Brady to Cincinnati and Carson Palmer to the Patriots dynasty might not be as great as it was. If you want to go that route, they're still going to be a hell of a lot better. He's going to have a couple Super Bowls with Belichick than the other way around. Like the same thing. Like if Patrick Mahomes doesn't end up with Andy Reid, it's probably a different story. If he ends up with an organization like the Bears, he still might be good and exciting and like a great player, but coaching has so much to do with it because it's not just like the one player. Yes, you can get the most out of them, but finding a way to cohesively get a 53-man roster to stay locked in, to stay focused, to stay healthy, to stay everything for a football season it's got to be one of the toughest tasks ever, because it's not just about like if you have talent. It's about like the Niners today, to me, objectively, have slightly more talent than the Lions. Like they should win the game on paper, the game's at home, all that stuff. But like if they aren't fully focused on what's going on, the Lions could win the game easily. Like the Niners almost lost to a Packers team that has the youngest roster in the league. Maybe it was rust, but again, it just wasn't being like fully focused, like kind of sloppy football in a lot of places.
Yeah. Early in that game, we saw Purdy step back and throw one straight at a DB. Straight at him. He dropped it. That would have been the game right there. Pick six. And
people, that throw that he made to Jennings, there's a lot of people going, look at this throw that he made. I've seen several people that I trust that are like former quarterbacks or they break down stuff. And they're like, you don't make this throw. This is him getting away with one. The ball kind of goes high. It goes over the linebacker and it's in between three defenders. And Jennings has to go up and make a play. Like that was not a advised throw. Like I'm sure Shanahan was like, thank you that ball was not intercepted. So it's like, you can't have that kind of shit happening today.
The Lions have to, if they learned anything from Green Bay last week, is when you get the lead, you need to slam that fucking door shut. You cannot let the 49er team hang around. So if the Lions get that lead, they just need to get it going. But the Lions also have a great running game that's going to tear up a lot of this clock.
I mean, just imagine, guys, a perfectly built team with a defensive line ferocious like the 49ers and a head coach ferocious, maybe a former 49ers head coach, just to keep the theme going a little bit. But if the team had everything the Niners had and an elite quarterback, could you imagine that, Joe? Could you imagine that? Could you imagine that situation? Two wide receivers
Harbaugh came back to finish the story.
I wasn't talking about Harbaugh. You said that, not me. In your head, though, I could tell.
Is that what it was? You're calling Jim Harbaugh Cody Rhodes, where he was there, was being used incorrectly in San Francisco, went to Michigan, and now he's coming back to finish the story. Is that what you're saying, Mike?
He won
a little bit of wrestling right now.
He won the baby like little secondary title and was like, "This ain't good enough. This ain't."
Well,
good
then
enough.
I will be the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, and it's going to happen, Joe.
What happened, Mike?
Mike's mind is blown because I just made a wrestling reference. Dusty Rhodes is my generation, Mike.
Yeah, Cody Rhodes is his son.
I know.
Dusty Rhodes is all of our generations, Tony.
No, he's not. He's not
Yes,
your
he
generation.
is, because he trained all the wrestlers of my generation. He trained all the wrestlers of my generation, so he's technically all of our generation. You think?
And Gold Dust is the best of his sons. Everybody knows that.
Skip. Let's go back to talking about something to do with football.
Yeah, let's zero. I think so. I'm picking the Lions and the Ravens. Those are the two teams that I'm picking today. Let's make our final picks, and then let's go talk about some of the hires because
that's who I want to win. I want the Lions and the Ravens. My picks are Ravens versus 49ers for the Pick'ems challenge, but I want to see Lions versus Ravens. That's what I want to see.
I want to see 49er fans cry. I want to see Patrick Mahomes, and I want to see Travis Kelce retire at the end of this game today too. I want to see them all walk away because they know the dynasty's over. My official picks are the Chiefs and the 49ers going to the Super Bowl to celebrate in Allegiant Stadium. Those are my official picks, and that's what I believe in, and that's what I 100% believe in. And it's not a jinx; it's who I'm going with, Tony.
That's who he's going with. That's who he's got. I just hope that Ravens-Chiefs game is so ugly that Mahomes gets so pissed off, he just lights the sideline on fire. Like, he literally just starts lighting all of people's like random gym bags on fire and burns all of Arrowhead Stadium down to the ground.
Would anybody be pissed off if both of these games are blowouts in the Chiefs and Lions direction? Like, if the Ravens come out and it's 48-10, they win that one. Then the Lions come out and win 38-7. Like, would anybody be pissed off that we had two championship games that were blowouts?
No, I wouldn't, because I have a good blowout TikTok about all the blowouts that I've just been waiting for one more big blowout to happen to post. So that would be great, actually.
I'm with
I
you.
have a lot. I don't have a lot of videos on the Chiefs lined up, but I have a lot of videos lined up for when the Niners lose today. I mean, the Niners are going to win today, so I don't need to use those. But I got a lot of stuff.
I feel like you got the video stacked. I feel like you got the video stacked up in the event that they win and lose.
The good thing, if the Niners lose today, the NFL doesn't have to scramble to find a lot of Pro Bowlers next week, right? They don't have to finish. They don't have to fill 11 spots or whatever it is next week.
Well, good. Take the L, and that way all the Niners can. You think the Niners are showing up at the Pro Bowl if they lose? There's no way they're showing up to answer questions about choking or, blowing another opportunity. How much longer can the window be open? What do you think of Brock Purdy? Should the team make a move? Like,
well, a lot of Niner fans are throwing Shanahan under the bus, Tony. A lot of Niner fans saying if we don't get it done this year, we don't know if we want Shanahan back.
That to me is why you should not be allowed to have nice things.
Yeah, your franchise is full of success and you're complaining still.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about the hires. We got 30 minutes till kickoff. We'll stay live for like 15, 20 more minutes, y'all. So put anything in the chat that you guys want to put in there. Please like the video, subscribe to whatever channel you're watching this on, and turn on notifications. I don't know your pick, Harrison. I saw this. I don't know your picks. Please put them in the chat. Sorry if you told me and I forgot. I forget a lot of things and I talk to a lot of people.
That's only a conversation for national media is what
are we? Are we not national media? Fuck.
Look, it goes the Kelce podcast, then it goes Pat McAfee podcast, and then it goes MJT. I think that's what I saw. I could be mistaken, but those are the three highest rating podcasts in the nation. So just throwing it out there that we're right there with New Heights and the Kelce podcast and the Pat McAfee.
I like how you're reasonable and ranked us at third. Weren't gonna shoot us straight to the top.
Yeah, no, that's good. I like that. Yeah, give us something to work for, Joe. Something to achieve.
But Tony, let's talk about this right here.
They're top of the game because they got name recognition. Once people start finding out who we are, sky's the limit.
I don't know, Joe. I went to a Raider game with you. A lot of people knew you. A lot of people knew me too. It was weird. Getting a lot of dirty looks. I don't know why, but a lot of people knew you.
Well, because when we were walking by, they were like, "Hey, get him. And I was like, but if I would have known you were going to leave me in the desert. Oh,
You don't let him loose on me. Let's go back to Harrison here. Tony,
Yeah.
you feel like the Panthers found their guy?
I feel like Dave Canales is a great coach for what I believe was actually available for the Panthers. Like, I don't think a lot of coaches really wanted this job. And I do think that there's encouraging signs, what we saw his time as a quarterback coach with Geno Smith, and then what happened with Baker Mayfield and the Bucs this year. Like, I thought the offense was pretty nice. Now, the one main issue is you get to be the offensive coordinator of the Bucs, and you get Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. And I thought the Trey Palmer pick was absolutely fantastic. K. Dotton looks to be like a solid tight end in the NFL. I do think he improved the run game a little bit. Like the year before when we watched the Bucs, like they couldn't run the ball at all when Tom Brady was there, and it was terrible. The run game did improve a little bit this year. They used the short passing game pretty creatively with Rashad White and getting the ball, quick shots to Godwin and Palmer. I think he can go there and work really well with Bryce Young. Like this is somebody that I think is going to connect maybe a little bit better than Frank Reich did. I'll be interested to see if he's still going to call the plays or if he trusts somebody else to do that. But if they can go and get a nice wide receiver in the second round and potentially spend on a veteran wide receiver, like what if Canales and Mike Evans have a really good relationship? I don't think Mike Evans would want to stay in division like that, but maybe they can offer him the most money in Carolina and he can come there and have a couple of good seasons with Bryce Young before the wheels fall off. I would probably aim a little bit younger. I've said it 1,000 times. I'll say it until T. Higgins is a Carolina Panther. But like that's who I would target. I would go and say, hey, I know you guys are going to franchise tag him. And this might cost us a couple of picks, but I'd be looking to get him in the building. So I like this hire for the Panthers. I mean, but if you look at it, it's like they had to promote internally Dan Morgan. And he was a great Carolina Panthers linebacker. I don't know what great. He was a really good Carolina Panthers linebacker. So it's as good as they could do with the owner seeming so volatile.
yeah, but Dan Morgan went and learned a little bit in Seattle as well. So it's not like he was always stuck at one spot. Like he knew what he wanted to do and come back to the Carolina Panthers. And that's kind of a trend now, right? We want people that want to be part of the organization. Dan Morgan wants to be part of that organization. Now, Tony and I talked about Canales yesterday. We were talking the same thing he just brought up. Mainly, he's brought in because of what he's done with Geno Smith and Baker Mayfield the last 2 years. Now, if you can get that out of Bryce Young, cool. But again, I think it's a great division to start in if you're going to be a rookie head coach because we've said it many times before. Only 9 wins are getting you in the playoffs in that division the last couple of weeks. Our last couple of years, so it's not a tough task. There, he has some good talent there. He has a good defense. You just got to turn around and get it going on offense.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. And they've kind of stubbornly held on to defensive assets instead of trying to go get more draft picks. So Canales has something to work with there. I didn't really know much about him until the news broke about the hire, but like all the reading I've done up on him, all the other coaches, the media personalities, everyone is saying that this is a great hire for Carolina. So there's buzz around Canales and what he can do with quarterbacks as a coach and improvement-wise. And you're talking about what he did with Baker Mayfield. I think Baker Mayfield, I don't know the exact numbers because there was a season with the Browns that was really good and they went to the playoffs. I think he just had his best season as a passer at very minimum.
Oh, no, to me, no question. Yeah, like I told you that if the Bucs were better this year, he could have been part of the MVP conversation at a certain point. Like if they would have won some of those games. If you go back, like the Bucs lost a lot of like shootout games. There was a game with the Texans where they should have won that game. I think there was a game with like
the 49ers game. The Bucs should have beat the 49ers.
Huh?
The Bucs should have beat the Niners this year. If you go back and watch that game.
There's quite a few games that they should have won or closed out. I think coming from Seattle, that's a good, like you want to bring in a coach who's been in a place where they've had success and you know what it looks like. And and you spent time there. You weren't just there for like a cup of coffee or whatever. Like he was actually part of that organization as they were, good, and then sort of, like rebuilding, retooling, figuring things out. You want somebody who gets like a firsthand look at that kind of stuff every day, every year. And then he also stepped into a really big challenge. He became the offensive coordinator of a former first-round pick journeyman, undersized QB, replacing Tom Brady. Like, that is a tough spot to be in, and he went there and he thrived. So I think it's a great hire for the Panthers.
All right, what other teams we got to talk about who hired?
I think one of the best hires is coming out of Atlanta. If you want to talk about Atlanta, Raheem Morris. Then they just brought in Zach Robinson from the Los Angeles Rams. So both of them moving over to Atlanta, going to have those weapons to play with. And same thing. We've already talked about the division, but Tony and I both have liked Raheem Morris and been waiting for him to get his second chance. I think that's right, Tony. I think you like Raheem Morris.
Yeah. I wanted Raheem Morris to have the interim tag removed when he was in Atlanta last time. Like, I thought he should have gotten a shot. I thought they played really well down the stretch with Raheem Morris, and they went with Arthur Smith, which is, proven to not be a very good idea. But I'm happy for Raheem Morris, and a guy that I really liked in the draft, Arnold Ebiketie. Like, I think he's got a real shot to go have some success this year. We saw what he was able to do and create with Kobe Turner and Byron Young on that defensive line. He's going to get, Ebiketie in his third year with some NFL experiences, find ways to highlight him. He'll get back another linebacker I liked. Troy Anderson has had some injuries, but I think he's going to be a real, solid key component. And then you have Jesse Bates. You have AJ Terrell. Like, he's got pieces on this defense to work with, and Zach Robinson's going to be able to come in. The one spot they have to figure out is how much can we afford to pay Kirk Cousins to come down here, like to be the quarterback? Because I think trading for Justin Fields is a bit much, but Kirk Cousins is going to be very familiar with what Zach Robinson wants to do in that offense. They could hit the ground running and be like a 12-win team next year.
Yeah, and that's a great little duo right there. Zach Robinson, Raheem Morris going to Atlanta now, bringing basically McVay's group of staff from last year over to ATL. It's going to be fun to watch.
If he can bring somebody that's going to help him with that run game that McVay had with Kyron Williams this year, and he's going to get to run a similar run game with Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson, like that's going to be very exciting and very easy. And I think you can then you might not need a Kirk Cousins. You could go for somebody who's kind of maybe in that next year. Maybe you get a retread and you give Ryan Tannehill, like a 1-year bridge deal, and you draft another quarterback from this class that you might want to work with.
Well, yeah, it was looking like Atlanta wanted a defensive guy all the way. There's all those rumors about Bill Belichick coming in. They can see the writing on the wall that they already got the pieces there on offense. You just need the right coordinator. You need the right quarterback. You need the right leaders in that room to create production there. The defense can take another step this year for sure.
Tony, you said it yesterday in the group chat. You said, what about Carson Wentz? He spent some time with Zach Robinson. Does he get a second chance in Atlanta?
Yeah, and maybe that's the spot where they bring him in. They let him say, like, hey, you're going to be the starter, but we're bringing in, a rookie competition, or we're going to, maybe Zach Robinson thinks that Desmond Ridder has something that wasn't highlighted. Now, again, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to get you guys back on this train. We're not going to be back in on it. I'm just saying, we don't know what his thought process will be. So let's just leave the door open to, like, he'll figure it out. I do think that to me, it's like, it's insane to think you had a choice between two defensive head coaches. You had Bill Belichick and Raheem Morris. I think Raheem Morris is amazing. I think he's a great coach, and I'm really glad he got another shot. You turn down Bill Belichick, that's something that you could regret, like in a very, very real time. Like next year, Belichick's back in the league and that team is going crazy and your team is kind of stumbling, struggling, injuries, whatever it may be. Maybe the Panthers make a jump. maybe the Buccaneers are able to sustain this success that they had this year. Like, it's just the Saints actually fucking get out of their own way for once and do something good. Like, I don't know. I probably would have went Belichick.
I think the thing about Bill Belichick, I think if you're an owner, right, you sit down with these head coaches and you're like, all right, what is your plan? What is your offensive coordinator? Who's going to be your defensive coordinator? Let me hear some of the coaching staff. Like, and I think that came into a big factor, Tony. And I think maybe it's just me hating a little bit, but when Bill Belichick sits there and he goes, I'm going to bring in Josh McDaniels. Is that not throwing a red flag in your head going, well, Josh McDaniels pissed off a lot of people in Denver. He pissed off a lot of people in Las Vegas. And now you're going to want my players to buy into him here and I could bring in Raheem Morris, who a lot of big name players like Jalen Ramsey are back in the NFL. Now I could bring in a young offensive coordinator who's coming from a system that's been working, a newer and proven that they can bring people in and rookies thrive in that system. And I could bring Zach Robinson over here. You're kind of looking at that, right? You're not looking at like, hey, and is the Patriot way really the way the Falcons wanted to go? Like that's more old school going the other way. I think the Falcons took that all into consideration and was like, you know what? We want to go towards what the NFL is new trending to now, and it's the players kind of coaching.
So I'm looking at it like this. I'm 82 years old, and I want to win. And I think Bill Belichick gives you the best chance to win in the short term. Everybody thinks, like, how's Bill going to be motivated? Bill's motivated, one, just by football, but two, wants to be the all-time winningest coach. And in the process of chasing the all-time wins is going to come at least a couple of good seasons for your football team where they're like locked in and focused. And we've never really heard bad things from the Patriots offensive players when McDaniels is just the offensive coordinator, when he's not the head guy, when he's not trying to do his Belichick impression and doing whatever. So, like, I do think it's risky, but the risk side of it is, to me, take a shot. Like, take a shot at bringing in this guy. When I think about it, I think it was less Arthur Blank not wanting him and more of the other guys that were like, hey, wait, we're not going to get to pick players. We're just going to basically be here as like seat holders, GMs. Like, we're not going to be part of this process. We have to turn everything over to the hoodie. Like, let's hire the other
fillers. Excel sheet fillers. I did see like a report or a rumor. Don't know how much stock to put into these things on Twitter about the Falcons front office as a group not wanting Belichick because they were worried that a lot of them were going to lose their job.
Like, even if they don't lose their job just becomes meaningless.
What? Why is he bringing up the Raiders in the middle of a conversation about the Atlanta Falcons? This is Raiders fans for you.
Because that's what we do. We talk our shit and we smoke our shit.
I know, and you talked so much shit about how washed Khalil Mack is, and now you're asking about him coming back. Now you don't mind. This man specifically, by the way. I remember.
Well, then he's doing a great job at trolling you, Mike, to get in your damn head. He's all up in your head.
Khalil Mack, if he can figure it out, he's a Harbaugh guy. Like, if they can figure out the contract to keep him around, like, he will be fantastic.
And if they can't figure out the contract, wouldn't he want to go to a contender? Call me crazy.
You know what I'm going to love? When Brandon Staley goes right back to the other locker room across the field, and he's right there with the Rams running another top 10 defense while you guys are struggling.
You have Khalil Mack and Aaron Donald.
He probably will have a top 10 defense if that's the case.
And he'll just tell Mack, he's like, hey, come on over to the Rams. He'll take all those guys over to the Rams with him.
No,
I don't. I'm not a Chargers fan that, like, I don't hate Brandon Staley. I wish him success. If he goes and has success as a defensive coordinator somewhere, like, fine, go ahead. Good for him.
Yeah, but if Brandon Staley signs tomorrow as the Raiders linebacker coach, what are you going to say?
No, then I hope he loses and he sucks and he brings in every person that he couldn't succeed with the Chargers. But if he goes to the Rams, I'm not going to hate on him there.
No, I think that's what I'm going to go to.
There's definitely a situation, Raider Aaron, where the Chargers have some decisions to make, but that's not what we're here to talk about. What other hires is there to talk about?
Lamar, we trust.
All the vacancies got filled, right? Lamar's going to save us, Mimi Charles. Lamar's going to save us today. There goes our
Seattle needs a head coach. They're waiting for the Ravens defensive coordinator to come available to talk to him. What's the other one? There's another one that is waiting for
Seattle, right? You just said Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle's really the only job that's available. I know Washington is interviewing Dan Quinn again, and they're interviewing the defensive line coach Anthony Weaver from the Ravens or McDonald or whoever. The job is Ben Johnson's. Like, Washington has been not even really sneaky about this or like anything at all. Adam Peters wants what Ben Johnson is selling. He wants that for, I would assume, Drake May as the number 2 pick in the draft. Maybe they find a way to finagle something with the Bears where they flip-flop if the Bears decide to keep Justin Fields and they go from 2 to 1 so they can get Caleb out there in Washington. Who knows? I think Ben Johnson is already written into Washington. So the Seattle job is the one that is very interesting for me. And I just think Mike Macdonald is going to have such an amazing game plan today that he's going to be the guy who ends up getting the job in Seattle.
That'll be perfect. I'm in for it.
Yeah, so I don't think. Yeah, I think it's just a waiting game for those two franchises. Like, we already kind of know, like, this is who they want. They just got to wait for it to play out. But you would think that, like, Ben Johnson and McDaniels would already start getting their, or maybe they have. Maybe they're just doing it behind the scenes, like already getting their staff, like, hey, don't go there because I'm bringing you over to Seattle.
Yeah, I don't know. All of it's going to be interesting to see how these teams that are late in the game are putting, like, rosters together or like coaching staffs together, because a lot of these big time coordinators are at least the names that we're familiar with as fans are getting these jobs. Like, we don't know. Like, I was familiar with Bobby Slowick, but I didn't know he was like that. He was going to be like this. Like, there's just a lot of times where, like, these guys, like, people didn't really know a ton about Mike McDaniel for a long time. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, it's a hot name as a coordinator or whatever. Like, there's always people there that are, like, on the cusp, that are in the building doing great things.
I'm holding out hope that Mike Vrabel doesn't get a head coaching job, right? Because it doesn't look like he will. And
I need him to. And that's why I was about to say that's a good spot for Vrabel in Seattle, right?
I think it's a good one, but again, like, I think that they want somebody who wants less control. Like, that's John Schneider wants to get back to being, like, he's a very good drafter. Like, look at how the Seahawks draft. They always are bringing in really good talent. Like, it hasn't failed under his watch in the draft for a long time. Like, I would say, like, maybe they've had some misses, obviously, but just what they're able to assemble players-wise, I think that he doesn't want to necessarily be butting heads with somebody like Mike Vrabel. It's like, let's bring in a really good X's and O's coach who's going to make the best of all of this talent that I'm able to assemble here.
I just don't want to see any Mikes go jobless. We're taking over the NFL coaching ranks. Every single person in 10 years will be named Mike that is coaching an NFL team.
I want Vrabel to get a job because I don't want him in KC. That's the bottom line. It's like, for me, I don't want a situation where Mike Vrabel doesn't have a job and then the Chiefs are like, Andy Reid just retired, and so we're going to start our search. Oh, who's available? Well, I guess we'll take Mike Vrabel. Like, that sucks for us as Charger fans. I do not want Mike Vrabel in Kansas City.
Me neither. I'm going to need Mike McCarthy to, get on the treadie for his own health and get his shit together so he can hold that job in Dallas. Can't lose another Mike here.
Hey, Harrison, what's going on here? You got a
here.
Account?
You got a friend here. No. That's me, Charles. Got 2 Panthers fans.
Panther fans coming out. More Panther fans than Charger fans now.
Okay.
Seattle's going after Gruden. I didn't see that anywhere. That'll be pretty big news.
Nah, Gruden's becoming the offensive coordinator in New Orleans.
That's what I heard. I heard he's joining that staff, which is interesting because doesn't he have an active suit against the NFL going while he plays and coaches in the NFL?
Yeah, but maybe that suit goes away, and that's what the NFL has to do, is they have to say, like, hey, we don't actually want you to bury half of the teams in the league because of what your investigator found out. So we will let you back in. He's not blackmailed his way in, but he's sort of leveraged his way back into the NFL. But again, like,
he should have said, fuck you guys. I don't want the coaching job. I want my commentary job back.
I don't want to go down like every time we start talking about Gruden, I just get into this thing where I start talking about how he's kind of overrated as a coach. And I don't want to be negative. Let's be positive.
But as a commentator, he's very entertaining.
Yeah, he's fantastic on Monday Night Football.
See? So he should have worked his way back in there. And then he'd also have a hot mic in front of him. So Roger Goodell will just be sweating anytime that they're on the air with Gruden.
They need to put Bill Belichick on Monday Night Football. They need to put him up in the booth. So they can be like, you see what happened there is he caught the ball and went for a touchdown. I want to see Bill Belichick.
I think Bill's actually really funny when I've heard him in like certain things. Like I think he's a smart guy who has a dry sense of humor. I don't know if he could carry a Monday Night Football broadcast, but like if you could
Saban podcast.
What if Belichick did like an alt cast for like Sunday Night Football?
That's what I'll say. And he's just by himself. No one else is there. It's just a dark room. You could see like the light flickering on his face from the TV. That's it.
You can learn so much more by watching the Manning cast. Like Manning cast is funny and entertaining. And every once in a while, they'll like really break down what's going on based on the actual schemes that are playing out on the field because it's one of the smartest quarterbacks who ever lived.
They stole our fucking idea. Let's just keep that in mind. Manningcast didn't exist until the Warzone Sports Network started hosting Monday Night Football watch parties.
That is true. That is true, Tony. The Mannings owe us some money.
They stole our IP when we didn't have like if we could have had access to the games. Here's the thing: none of us can break down film like Peyton Manning.
That's true.
This
is where I want this all. This is where I want this all to keep going, Tony. So that way that it benefits us in the future. I want it to keep going down this path of streaming and alternate broadcasts and all that stuff. And before you know it, you can just tune in and pick between like 100 different people calling your game. And I'm one of them, hopefully.
So I really do think that the best thing that they could do for the UFL is give like 10 different TikTok, Instagram, YouTube people access to broadcast the games and do live like watch alongs with them. Yeah. Like that would be the smartest way to get people and bring exposure to that league is to allow people on the internet who have followings to broadcast the game. Can we just let you know what? We got to go. So I just want to say I am fucking pumped that Jim Harbaugh is the Los Angeles Chargers coach. And I've waited an hour and a minute, and I've read all these different shots and bullshit, and people telling me Harbaugh's going to need time to figure it out and whatever else. I'll just say this much, that every year I tell my kids that Santa is real and to believe in the magic of Christmas. Well, guess what was brought? My Christmas wish came true that Jim Harbaugh became the coach of the Los Angeles Chargers, and it's going to be fun, entertaining, ass-kicking football for like the next 5 to 8 years. And I'm pumped about it.
Oh yeah. I couldn't have said it better.
Hell yeah.
I'm not allowed to say hell yeah. I'm not allowed to pump you guys up. I can't wait to see the Chargers get better and get more competitive because the Raiders are tired of whipping that ass. I mean, 63 points on you the last time we played. Like the Raiders are like, finally bring somebody in here that can hang with us and give us some kind of talent. Like we're tired of beating the Chargers. We're tired of that shit. We want to have some competitive games with you guys at the end of the season.
Good, you're gonna get them.
I have a question, Joe, which I'm gonna ask every time you bring this up for the rest of our life. Who drafted all of those players from that 63-point blowout, Joe? Who was it? Here, I'll give you the mic.
It's not Tom Telesco's fault that they can't get it done on the field. The Raiders are smart enough to go, hey, Tom, we know your weaknesses. 1, hiring a coach, and 2, the salary cap. So you're not dealing with anything but drafting, and it works out. Tom, let's go.
Raiders fans keep telling me that, and they're basically admitting that the Chargers had a bad GM when they say that. They're like, oh, you guys had a bad GM, but because we hired him, let's go.
The only reason Tom Telesco got fired is because his pick of Brandon Staley.
Because players, but yeah, he's our general manager, baby.
He is like that is really how life works, right? Like somebody gets remarried, the person's been married 3 other times, and it's like, yeah, well, he's my dirtbag. Don't worry about it. Like that is
it never ends because then they go, oh, it was your coach's fault, not your GM's fault. Who hired the coach? Ding ding, the GM.
But even so, let's say this: like Telesco is not a bad general manager by any means. Like I don't think that he is bad. I will say this: idea that he's bad with the salary cap, that's not true. This is the only time in his tenure where he actually went for it and it just didn't work out. Like the Chargers were always having like a couple extra $1 million cap space here and there or whatever. Like he went for it one time and it bombed terribly and he had to go. Like that's just the bottom line. Yeah. If you have 10 seasons, 11 seasons as the GM and you make the playoffs 2 or 3 times when your quarterbacks have been Phillip Rivers and Justin Herbert, you cannot be the GM of that team anymore. That's just it. But he's not a bad GM. He's picked a lot of really good players. He's signed, undrafted guys. Eckler. There's some more guys that I'm forgetting right now. But like he's hit in these other spots. Like we're 3rd round guys that have been good, like Palmer, Keenan Allen. There's been players that have contributed. Michael Davis. That's what I was trying to think of. Undrafted, good player. Like he's gotten good players. It's not that simple. Like he's not going to put you guys over the top. That's all I'm saying. Like he's not going to be there.
I don't think so either.
They're going to be good. This is Antonio Pierce.
Because I've been asking every Raiders fan, every single Raiders fan that's messaged me about this topic, and believe me, a lot of them have fucking messaged me. So I'll ask you, Joe, because no one has been able to answer this question for me. Name one move that Tom Telesco made that gave Phillip Rivers a chance at a Super Bowl in the last couple years of his career.
Why did Phillip Rivers need anything from Tom Telesco?
He didn't make any
great
moves.
Hall of Fame quarterback. You do it on your own. You do it on your own.
Die. He let Phillip Rivers' career die. No Hail Mary at the end of it.
The greatest thing Tom Telesco did for Phillip Rivers was cut his ass. Let him leave.
Rivers went out there and gave this man a 12-4 season in 2019. A 12-4 season. And that offseason, they signed no players. 0. They went 5-11 the next season or something. It was sad. Anyways, let's get it going. Game's about to start. We got 1 minute till kickoff.
I don't know what Tony's doing.
I don't know either. Lamar, you are our guy today.
But tonight, Tom Telesco could do was leave that shitty organization to come to the greatest organization ever.
Tonight, Gotham's relying on one man to save us all.
The entire fate of the NFL rests on this man's shoulders because we need to put a stop to this madness.